He said he only loved me, but I saw him being intimate with another woman in the garden with my own eyes. My heart shattered instantly, but I didn't rush in. Instead, I turned and left that villa. That night, I booked the earliest flight overseas and vanished. But to my surprise, he went completely mad, searching for me, reporting me missing to the police, dispatching people, tracking my whereabouts across the world. 5 years ago, he swore, "I'll only love you my entire life. If I break this vow, may I be struck down by lightning." Today, I vanished, and his world completely collapsed. The taxi moved slowly, its tires rolling over the asphalt with a faint friction sound. Vendors shouted on both sides of the street, children laughed and played, but these sounds felt muffled and distant, as if separated by a veil. I clutched the plane ticket tightly in my hand. It felt heavy, weighing down my heart with dull aches. The shops on both sides were brightly lit, bustling with activity. Mr. Vance's wife is truly fortunate. Mr. Vance threw such a grand birthday party for her again. A passerby pointed to the festively decorated villa not far away, her voice filled with envy. Right. Nowadays, which boss isn't a playboy? Only Vance is truly good to his wife, completely devoted. Another passerby chimed in. Listening to these discussions, my emotions were a chaotic mix, utterly ironic. Fortunate. A good man. Marcus, you truly are an excellent actor. I don't remember how I left that luxurious villa. Only the image of the man I loved most being intimately close with another woman flashed through my mind, with low moans continuously coming from the room. That sound was so familiar, it was always like that, when he was aroused. Mr. Vance, it hurts. Do you like her? The woman's coquettish voice was full of joy and satisfaction. Then came Marcus' unequivocal answer, yes, I do. Every one of these words felt like a slap across my face, breaking my heart. I took a deep breath, forcing down the surging emotions within me. Let's go. The taxi restarted, heading towards the villa. As we got closer to that place, my heart grew colder. I couldn't imagine Marcus being with another woman at that very moment. Entering the back door of the villa, I walked directly towards the small garden. A cloyingly sweet scent of perfume hit me, and a wave of nausea rose in my throat. But no one was there. It was as if nothing had happened moments ago. The joyful laughter of guests continuously echoed from the main hall, jarringly loud. After passing through the hallway, I returned to my room, and quickly hid my new identification documents and plane ticket. Just as I was about to turn to leave, "Grace, where have you been? Everyone's waiting for you." Marcus suddenly burst into the room, took my hand, and gently pulled me into his embrace. "The birthday party is about to start, and everyone has arrived." His voice was soft, and gentle as always. "Come on, I've prepared a surprise for you." However, my nose caught the strong scent of a woman's perfume mixed with his own, and my stomach couldn't help but churn. "Your perfume smells strange." I tried to make my voice sound calm, attempting to hide my inner unease. "Where did you go just now?" I feigned a casual tone. A flicker of panic crossed his eyes, but he quickly regained his composure, acting as if nothing had happened. "I just passed by the dressing room. When I went to look for you, I wanted the singer performing to change a song to make sure you'd like it," he explained, then seemed to add, "Maybe I picked up some cosmetic scent then." His words were so smooth that I almost couldn't distinguish truth from lies. That singer. Could it be Skylar? My heart felt as if something had tightly clenched it, and I could barely breathe. Despite the extreme discomfort, I forced myself to follow him to the front hall. On stage, Skylar walked gracefully, every turn captivating. She occasionally cast a glance in our direction, full of tender affection. But my stomach churned, and I felt on the verge of throwing up. Marcus' hand was pressed tightly against my waist. That warmth and strength seemed to want to completely consume me, but the feeling made me incredibly uncomfortable. He was wearing a formal suit jacket, but he'd forgotten to fasten the top button, and his clean white shirt was faintly visible underneath. Out of habit, I fastened his button. The moment my fingers touched his warm skin, my heart felt like a knife twisting inside me. Just last night, I had personally ironed this shirt for him, and clearly seen the kiss marks on his collarbone, vivid and striking, like a fresh wound. He seemed oblivious to it all, instead gently holding my hand and caressing my palm. Grace, do you like it? Was he talking about the spotlighted woman on stage? Or was this performance, specially arranged, his surprise for me? I forced a smile and replied, yes, I do. As the stage lights shifted, several gift boxes were brought onto the stage. These were clothes I had always dreamed of and specially ordered. There was also a property deed. Today is my wife's birthday, Marcus announced loudly, his voice filling the entire hall. Thank you all for coming. I've committed to Grace for life. As long as she's happy, I'd do anything. The guests applauded enthusiastically, offering their blessings, but only I knew the hypocrisy and mockery behind his words. He held out my favorite specialty pastries, but I turned my body away, which froze him for a few seconds. Suddenly, Skylar on stage accidentally fell. Marcus instantly stood up, his face filled with anxiety. Watching him hesitate, wanting to rush over and help, but forcibly restraining himself, I felt nothing but profound weariness. From head to toe, Skylar was wearing exact duplicates of my items, from the custom-made crystal heels, to the rare emerald bracelet on her wrist, and the priceless ruby hair ornament in her hair. I turned and walked directly out the door, without a word or a backward glance. By the time he finally returned to the empty house to face his guests and his beloved woman, I had already gone back to the bedroom to pack my bags, intending to leave. The life I once thought would lead to us growing old together had become so unbearable. After packing my things, I left. Marcus didn't chase after me or try to stop me. He was probably too preoccupied, busy taking care of the injured Skylar. I opened my jewelry box and looked at the once precious gifts. Every time he returned from a business trip, he never failed to bring me all sorts of little trinkets, like jewelry and clothes. But now, none of them seemed to matter anymore. I threw all those clothes into the clothing donation bin. As for the more valuable jewelry, I sold it all, and gave the money to charity organizations. This love was truly cheap. In the evening, I learned from the house manager that Marcus was away on business. The banquet had ended long ago. Whether he was genuinely busy with work or comforting the pathetic woman no longer mattered to me. 3 days later, Marcus finally returned. He carried a handmade decorative lantern, with delicate pearls adorning the tassels, clearly made with effort. I used to love these lanterns. Whenever I was in a bad mood, he would try every possible way to buy all sorts of lanterns to cheer me up. This time was no exception. He returned home dusty and travel-worn, bringing my favorite specialty pastries and this lantern. Grace, I'm sorry, my mission was urgent, I just got back. Look what I brought you. I glanced up. He showed no signs of fatigue from the trip, appearing rather at ease, his eyes filled with tenderness. I smiled and took the lantern. Then, I took out a lighter and lit it. Flames surged, quickly consuming the delicate lantern. The pearls crackled in the fire, and finally turned to ash. His face was filled with surprise. Grace, what's wrong? I smiled softly. Nothing. I don't like these things anymore. He looked at me in disbelief. How can that be? You used to love these things. I didn't speak. He came closer, gently kissed my cheek, and a faint scent of perfume emanated from him. I tried my best to suppress my disgust, and pushed him away. But he didn't seem to realize anything, thinking I was just upset because he had returned late. So he got up and went to the kitchen to cook me porridge. When he brought the porridge over, he carefully blew on it a few times to test the temperature, then tried to feed me spoonful by spoonful. For a moment, I actually believed he loved me. Marcus. I looked at him, asking word for word. Will you be like others and find a mistress? If you plan to do so, remember to tell me beforehand. His pupils visibly flickered. Grace, what are you saying? I've already sworn that I will only have you my entire life. What happens to others is none of my concern. You have to believe me. I didn't speak, just nodded. In the evening, he went to the living room, saying he had an important call to take. In my room, I inadvertently picked up the phone receiver. The phones in every room of this house were connected. He probably forgot this detail, his mind completely consumed by thoughts of Skylar. Someone usually so careful didn't even realize this. I unintentionally overheard their sweet conversation. I miss you. When are you coming to see me? I bought a new dress, it's really pretty, you'll definitely like it. Be good. I'll come see you when I have time. I had no more desire to listen to the rest, and hung up the phone directly. Not long after, Marcus returned. He held me tightly all night, as if I truly was the person he cared about most. The next morning, he said he wanted to take me shopping. Before he could finish, his assistant rushed in and whispered a few words in his ear. His expression suddenly became flustered. Honey, there's an urgent matter at the downtown office. I'll explain later. After tossing out that single sentence, he hurriedly left the house. The breakfast on the table was still steaming. I silently picked up the bowl and ate spoonful by spoonful. Tears unknowingly slipped into my porridge. After left, I picked up the phone again and called the studio. Hello, may I ask if Skylar can come perform today? The person on the other end sounded apologetic. Oh dear, Mrs. Vance, how unlucky. Something happened at Skylar's home, and the situation isn't entirely clear yet. She probably can't come today. I'm truly sorry. The moment I hung up the phone, I already had my answer. So, a family emergency had occurred, which was why Marcus had left so urgently. I couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. Only 5 days remained until I was set to leave this place. Marcus, have you ever considered that one day I would turn and leave you without hesitation? Before leaving, I wanted to see the old family estate. Again, that house was where we had countless dates, and made countless beautiful memories before Marcus was transferred to the downtown office. I wanted to bid farewell to that love one last time. I took a taxi. The ride was bumpy for a while before it stopped in front of the familiar house. Before even entering the door, I heard the laughter and conversation of several men from inside. Tony, I never thought you'd hide her here. That's quite bold of you. Aren't you worried Grace will find out? If you ask me, you might as well tell her openly. Who doesn't have friends of the opposite sex? You just deserve to suffer, insisting on being fixated on one person. Exactly, people like us, aren't we all thriving out there? Just boldly pursue whoever you like. Anyway, Skylar won't actually do anything to you. A CEO like you, afraid of his wife. All of you, shut up. Marcus' voice was clearly anxious. Don't meddle. Don't breathe a single word of this to anyone outside. If finds out, don't blame me if I disown you. I promised Grace I'd only be with her for this lifetime. Did you remember that? Or watch your positions? So that was it. He already knew I would leave if I found out, but he still did it, thinking he could hide it perfectly. My heart felt as if it had been pricked repeatedly by needles, throbbing with pain. I couldn't help but recall how he was hospitalized for 3 months after being injured, protecting me. At that time, I never left his side, caring for him right here. It was then that I decided to marry him, and believed he would be the only one in my life. After taking a deep breath, I still chose to turn and walk away. This house, which once held all our dreams of happiness, had now become a painful memory I never wanted to revisit. Not long after I returned home, Marcus returned. The moment he saw me, he rushed over and hugged me tightly. He carried the coolness of the outside, and faintly, a scent that wasn't mine. Grace, I missed you so much. Gently distancing myself from his embrace, I feel a bit tired right now. He froze, his hand, which had been reaching to caress my arm, paused in midair. Are you feeling unwell somewhere? Do you want me to find a doctor to check on you? I shook my head. No, I'm fine. I just suddenly miss my mom. His face suddenly became grim. He knew my mom had died of depression, because my dad cheated on her. That was also why I chose to go overseas, and it took him 5 years to open my heart. He squeezed my hand. Don't overthink. I'll find the best doctor to help you. With that, he turned and hurried away. I could only think of my mom's tragic experience, and I felt a pang in my stomach. The feeling of nausea almost made me want to throw up. Just then, the phone rang. Miss Grace, I think you should know who I am by now. It was an unfamiliar woman's voice, with a hint of triumph. Can you stop monopolizing Mr. Vance? Do you know? Countless days and nights, I was the one by his side, enjoying his tenderness. Those sweet moments you two never experienced. Let me tell you, I'm already pregnant with Mr. Vance's child. I instantly struggled to breathe, as if an invisible hand was gripping my heart tightly. I know you don't want him to find another woman, but you can't make him reject his own flesh and blood, can you? I forcefully suppressed the intense pain in my heart, and said coldly, "Are you done talking? If you have the time, you might as well persuade Marcus to divorce me, and marry you." I slammed the phone down, my fingertips turning white from the force. The plane ticket lay quietly on the table. I picked up a pen and signed my name on the divorce papers. Then, I left without looking back, this home that was once full of warmth and anticipation, but now was as cold as an ice-cold vault. The plane roared, and I looked at the blue sky, and white clouds outside the window, feeling nothing inside. Meanwhile, back at the house, Marcus excitedly pushed open the bedroom door, holding a prescription. "Grace," the doctor said. The room was empty. On the table, the glaring divorce papers lay starkly, appearing especially cold in the dim light. "Grace." Marcus' voice was filled with unbelievable pain and despair. He violently grabbed the divorce papers, the paper crumpling and twisting in his hand. "Someone. Quickly." The entire room, indeed the entire house, plunged into chaos. "Go find her immediately, she's gone, move it." The company employees and security guards immediately rushed out to search everywhere. Marcus ransacked the house. All her belongings were gone. "What in the world is going on?" a cleaning staff member cautiously said. "A few days ago, Mrs. Vance donated all her clothes." "Why didn't you tell me?" Marcus roared. "You said that, whatever Mrs. Vance said was your wish." Marcus clenched his fist. An employee ran back to report, "Manager, we've searched everywhere we could, even Mrs. Vance's family home, but no one has seen her return." Marcus, in a fit of rage, pushed the man. "Are you all useless? Get out, all of you. If you don't find her, none of you will have it easy." He sank weakly into a chair, clutching the divorce papers. The image of her determined back as she left flashed through his mind repeatedly, and his heart ached as if a knife were twisting inside him. To find his missing wife, Marcus even contacted old classmates he hadn't spoken to in years. Did she really just disappear like that? He clutched the photo covered with missing person flyers, the paper distorting in his palm. The sea breeze blew, carrying the salty scent unique to the ocean. This was Portville, a completely unfamiliar city. I rented an old apartment building, and had just finished unpacking my simple luggage, when my stomach began to protest. A small restaurant on the street emitted a tempting aroma. I pushed the door open and ordered a local signature dish. I took a bite. "This is terrible." Frowning, I forced myself to finish the food on the plate. "Is that you?" A familiar voice came from beside me. I looked up and saw Ethan, a very close friend from college. "Ethan, you are here too." I paused my chewing in surprise. "I'm going back." A light flickered in his eyes. "The country needs people like us now." "Back." "Riverton has been chaotic recently. The situation overseas isn't good," he explained earnestly. My heart suddenly tightened, and my father's blurry figure flashed before my eyes. "I plan to go there and work undercover," Ethan said, his voice firm and powerful. His words were like a flame, igniting a long-dormant passion within me. "Grace, are you willing to come with me?" His eyes sparkled like stars, staring intently at me. I took a deep breath, unsure what to say for a moment. But during this time, I had personally witnessed all his efforts for this country. "So," I said without hesitation, "I agree." In the days that followed, we were in a foreign land, collaborating closely with our contacts back home to complete some crucial missions. Headquarters instructions are for us to return home for a new mission. Ethan showed me the information. I stared at the content on the phone screen, my emotions mixed. Returning home also meant facing that unpleasant memory again. "Grace, are you okay?" he asked with concern. I forced a smile, looking up at him. "I'm fine. Let's go, for the country and for myself." I had been overseas for some time, and although I was isolated, some news from home still drifted to my ears in bits and pieces. The local tabloids were filled with notices Marcus had published, searching for his wife. Some marveled at his deep devotion, how he spared no effort, using all his connections to find his beloved. He's still stubbornly looking for me. I let out a bitter laugh, then crumpled the newspaper in my hand into a ball. Are you okay? Ethan asked, looking at me with concern. I'm fine, I shook my head, trying not to let my disappointment show. Meanwhile, in a city back home, Marcus sat alone in the empty and silent living room. The faint scent of my perfume still lingered in the air. He sat day and night in that familiar rocking chair, until the first light of dawn appeared. Sleepless, foodless, unmoving like a mountain. His secretary brought in a steaming meal. Mr. Vance, please at least eat something. Marcus gently waved his hand, gazing out the window with a hazy gaze, muttering to himself, will she really come back here? Hearing this, his assistant could only sigh softly, unable to find any suitable words to comfort his superior. In a corner, two employees whispered, did you hear, the CEO's devotion to his wife is truly profound. She's been gone for so long, and he's still persistently searching for her. Of course, I heard. If only I could meet a man as good as the CEO. One of them whispered, I don't necessarily think so, no one is that perfect. Before he could finish, his companion stopped him, shut up. As and I continued on our mission, he suddenly pulled out his phone, and showed me a news article. Look at this, they say Marcus is having health issues. Looking at the photo of the haggard man, with listless eyes on the screen, my heart clenched involuntarily. This is the path he chose for himself. I said coldly, then turned, and walked away, without sparing another glance at the article. Marcus, feverish and disoriented, was lying in bed in a coma, his assistant extremely anxious beside him. Mr. Vance, you have to hold on. Marcus was still calling my name in his dream. When we arrived at our destination, intending to settle in first, we overheard a discussion on the road. You know, Northwood City is offering a huge reward for information regarding the CEO's wife's whereabouts, 1 million yuan. Another passerby chimed in, that's great, we should hurry and help find clues. Hearing this conversation, I involuntarily pulled my scarf higher to conceal my face, and quickened my pace, following Ethan, a complicated mix of emotions stirring deep within me. Did he really think my whereabouts could be bought so easily with money? I sat by the bed, the scene of Marcus' marriage proposal flashing through my mind. He half knelt on the ground, his posture tall and agile, his handsome face showing a hint of nervousness. His ears were slightly red, and his speech a little stammered. Grace, I truly love you. I swear, I will only treat you well my entire life, and I will never get involved with any other woman. Marcus said firmly. Whether it was a vow or a lie, we were so naive then, thinking a single promise could guarantee everything in the future. Now it seemed, all that came at a price. Wrong is wrong, and he was no exception. Sooner or later, he'd have to pay the price for it. Late at night, I slowly drifted into sleep. Tomorrow would be a new confrontation. My return had to be kept secret. At this moment, in a luxurious villa in this city. These are all the hairpins, jewelry, and other ornaments Mrs. Vance sold. All the money from the sale was donated. Marcus' hands trembled involuntarily. His usual composure was gone. The pain and regret within him threatened to overwhelm him. Grace, how much do you hate me? You even ruthlessly got rid of the things I gave you. He looked much more haggard. Just then, the house manager gently pushed the door open, interrupting his thoughts. Mr. Vance, there's a lady outside insisting on seeing you. She says she's pregnant with your child, and is on a hunger strike. Unless you go see her now, she won't eat anything. Marcus's brow furrowed deeply, a wave of annoyance washed over him. Tell her to do as she pleases. Don't try to threaten me with a child anymore. The house manager had no choice but to leave. In a side room of the villa, Skylar touched her slightly swollen belly. Baby, Mama will get justice for you. Just bear with it, a little longer. Even if he doesn't want to see us, you have to be strong, and wait for him to change his mind. She probably thought that as long as I was gone, she would get everything she deserved. How ridiculous. In fact, Marcus wasn't even willing to give her the status of the other woman. At this moment, Skylar was writhing on the ground in pain, groaning continuously. It hurts so much. My stomach hurts badly. Quick. Go find Mr. Vance again. Our baby isn't doing well. A moment later, hurried footsteps echoed again in Marcus' ears. Mr. Vance. Miss Schuyler seems to be going into labor, and the situation looks extremely critical. Hearing this, Marcus immediately stood up. Grace's distraught appearance when she left flashed through his mind. Could it really be a coincidence? Impossible. Grace already. He clenched his jaw, closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, the resolve in his eyes was chilling. Quick, drive to the Coastal City General Hospital. The car raced on the road, much like his state of mind, filled with unease and turmoil. Marcus' heart bumped along with the wheels, every second felt like a century. The hospital corridor was filled with the pungent smell of disinfectant. Schuyler lay on the bed, her face as pale as a sheet. The doctor was busy with examinations. Doctor, how is she? Marcus asked anxiously. Don't worry, the patient is fine. It's just some mild pregnancy symptoms, she just needs to rest well. After hearing this, Marcus' heart, which had been hanging heavy, finally settled. It was as if a 1,000-pound burden had been shed. He plopped into a chair, strength drained from his body. Schuyler slightly opened her eyes. Sure, is our baby okay? Her voice was weak but full of anticipation. It's fine. Marcus looked at her with an unreadable emotion. Meanwhile, in a city by the river, I woke from a chaotic dream. Is everything arranged? Ethan asked me. Ready. We reported to a new location as part of an infiltration operation. Everything seemed to be going smoothly. Soon, we received our first mission, to investigate an illegal transaction case within the Coastal City General Hospital. The place to investigate is Coastal City General Hospital. I was momentarily stunned that our informant revealed that the illicit transaction site was in the hospital basement. Ethan confirmed. This city was not unfamiliar to me, it was where Marcus and I had spent many wonderful times together. Thinking of it now, my heart couldn't help but feel a pang of pain. To successfully complete the mission and avoid drawing any attention, I deliberately dressed in plain clothes, and wrapped myself as much as possible with a hat and mask. I absolutely couldn't let anyone I knew see my face. So, my companion and I headed towards the target location together. Entering the hospital building, it was bustling with people. My heart was pounding harder than ever. I tried to calm myself. Relax, Ethan's gentle, soothing voice came from beside me. I know, I replied, trying to control my trembling voice. When we reached the small door before the basement, 2 burly men were guarding the entrance. Hey, who are you two? What do you want? Easy, brother, we're just here to make a delivery, Ethan replied calmly. The 2 men scrutinized us intently. My palms were sweating profusely from the tension. Fortunately, they eventually let us through. All right, come on in. Upon stepping into the gloomy underground space, a peculiar atmosphere washed over me. Even though my stomach began to protest uncomfortably, I managed to keep my footing, because what was happening before me was the crucial part of our investigation. A group of men sat around a table. The smiles on everyone's faces were eerie and greedy. Just then, an unexpected figure entered my line of sight. It was Marcus. The crowd gradually dispersed, and I was about to leave. Suddenly, a hand gripped my wrist fiercely, with such strength that I almost lost my footing. I instinctively tried to pull away, but was abruptly pulled into a corner. A man rudely ripped off my mask. Grace, it really is you. Marcus' voice was trembling slightly. He was clearly excited and surprised. He held me tightly, as if trying to merge me into his very being. I struggled, then put a small knife to his throat. Let go, or I won't be gentle. He froze, then laughed. Grace, are you trying to use the methods I taught you against me? I took a deep breath, forcing myself to calm down. You've got the wrong person, I'm not Grace. His gaze dimmed, but he still wouldn't let go. Grace, I know I was wrong, will you forgive me? I truly made a mistake, I can't lose you. He choked out, with a desperate plea. Do you know? After you left, I completely fell apart. I can't live without you. I looked at him and let out a cold laugh. Is Vance looking for his missing wife? I'm sorry, but I'm not the person you have in mind. I pushed him away with force, about to walk off. Just then, Ethan appeared, standing in front of me. She's my wife, not the person you are looking for. Please have some respect. Marcus' eyes immediately turned fierce, like those of a furious beast. He swiftly pulled a knife from his pocket, and held it against Ethan's throat. Are you from Northwood City, Don T? You know this is my territory. I lines make sure you stay here forever. His fingers were already on the knife handle, as if he was about to strike at any second. I gritted my teeth and stood in front of Ethan. Marcus, if you dare to lay a hand on him, come at me instead. He instantly froze, his face filled with surprise. Grace, it's really you. I pushed him away, pointing at the knife in his hand. Let him go. Marcus' gaze became complicated and chaotic. Ethan, let's go. I urged Ethan. He hesitated, but finally turned and walked away. Wait for me outside. I told him. Ethan's figure gradually disappeared into the night. Marcus suddenly lunged at me like a madman, kissing me frantically and desperately, as if he wanted to meld me into his very bones. I slapped him hard. The loud sound echoed in the empty corridor. But he didn't seem to feel the pain, a fervent flame still burning in his eyes. Grace, hit me. As long as it calms your anger, as long as you are willing to forgive me, you can hit me as many times as you want. I truly made a mistake. I shouldn't have been messing around with others. I really love you. I looked at him, a mocking smile playing on my lips. Your love, it's really that cheap, isn't it? Saying you love me, but thinking of someone else in your heart, is that your love? He desperately tried to explain, but he opened his mouth repeatedly, and no words came out, his face flushing red with urgency. I truly made a mistake, Grace. I know I was wrong. Please don't leave me, I beg you. You can punish me however you want. Just then, a gasp came from behind us. Marcus. What are you doing? I pushed Marcus away and turned to see a haggard woman, holding a small infant in her arms. It was Skylar. Her face was ashen, and her eyes showed intense jealousy. Marcus' face immediately turned deathly pale. He looked at Skylar, then at me, his face filled with panic and helplessness. I let out a cold laugh and turned to leave. Grace, he cried out hoarsely, trying to chase after me. I wanted to leave without looking back, but he grabbed me and held me tightly in his arms. Grace, listen to me, you can't leave. I truly only love you. Skylar's face flushed with anger when she heard him say that. She rushed over, holding the child. You love her. Then what about me? What about our child? Marcus glared at her fiercely. Say one more word of nonsense, and I'll blow your brains out. I didn't speak, merely watching the two of them argue relentlessly. Skylar was consumed by jealousy, almost to the point of madness. Marcus, how can you say that without blushing? When you were in my bed, did you forget how much you enjoyed yourself? Why didn't you say you didn't love me then? Marcus backhanded her, sending Skylar sprawling to the ground, the child in her arms nearly falling. A pang of sorrow pierced me. Not long after I went overseas, I found out I was pregnant. This was even before I discovered Marcus had betrayed me. At the time, I lay alone on a cold operating table, undergoing an abortion. That pain is still vivid in my memory. I didn't want to bring the adult's mistakes upon an innocent child, even though that child was one of the reasons my marriage fell apart. Just as Marcus was about to lay a hand on her, Skylar suddenly spoke. Do you really think Skylar loves you? Only I truly care about you. That day, when I told her I was pregnant, she was so happy she practically wanted you to get a divorce. You were searching everywhere for her, but she didn't even care about you, ha ha ha. Upon hearing Skylar's words, Marcus finally understood why I had left without a word. It turned out it was about divorcing him. So, it was you, this scoundrel, stirring up trouble. If it weren't for your instigation, how would I have hurt Grace's heart? I'll beat you to death. Marcus kicked out, and the child in Skylar's arms fell to the ground. I quickly reached out and held the child tightly in my arms, looking at his tender little face. It made me think of the child I had lost, the one who never had the chance to come into this world. A surge of bitterness filled my heart, but I forced myself to suppress the pain and blurted out, Marcus, our child is gone. Do you really want to personally harm your own son now? Marcus froze, a flicker of surprise and confusion crossing his eyes. Grace, did you just say we had a child? He asked, looking at me with urgency and a hint of disappointment, his eyes full of anticipation. Yes, we did once, but it's gone now. My voice trembled, but my tone was firm. Thanks to you. He suddenly fell to his knees, a strong man who never easily showed weakness, now with tears streaming uncontrollably down his face, choking back words. I'm sorry. His voice was hoarse, filled with remorse. I placed the child into Marcus' hands, then turned and left. His pained cries echoed through the night behind me, but I didn't stop, not even for a single step, never looking back. He used to be everything in my life, but now he was the past I least wanted to revisit. I hugged my arms tightly, feeling the bone-chilling cold in the bitter wind. The coldness in my heart did not diminish with the night wind outside. As deep as my love for him once was, so deep my hatred had become. That unborn child felt like a tombstone for the love we once shared. I would never forgive him, never. The news of Skylar being taken away quickly spread throughout the neighborhood, like a gust of wind, reaching every corner. I sat on the balcony, holding a newly bought newspaper, but my mind was elsewhere. Miss Grace, Mr. Vance is here to see you again, the house manager's soft voice came from outside the door. I put down the newspaper, sighed, and said calmly, tell him I'm not here. But, the house manager stammered. He said he has something important to tell you. Her voice dropped even lower. I let out a cold laugh. What big deal could he possibly have? It's just more apologies. Tell him to go home. The house manager nodded and retreated. Not long after, she returned, with a hint of helplessness and sympathy in her eyes. Miss Grace, Mr. Vance said if you don't see him, he'll just kneel at the door and refuse to leave. I shot to my feet. He wouldn't dare. I quickly walked to the door, and sure enough, saw Marcus kneeling outside. He was no longer the vibrant, ambitious entrepreneur he once was, he looked extremely gaunt and worn. My mind was a chaotic mess. Marcus, what do you think you are doing? I asked, my voice cold. He looked up, his eyes red. Grace, I just want to see you one last time, just one final glance. Is there truly no chance left for us? I turned my head, avoiding his gaze. We were over long ago, from the moment you betrayed me. I was wrong, I truly know I was wrong, his voice choked. Grace, can you give me one more chance to make amends? I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Marcus, just go. There's truly no possibility for us. I don't blame you, I only resent the circumstances that led you to make such choices, but it's clear we are not right for each other. With that, I turned and went back inside, leaving him trembling in the cold wind outside. This time, I was truly determined to let go completely. I no longer resented him, I simply believed one shouldn't test human nature. He remained silent for a long time before finally speaking. Grace, I know I disappointed you, and I'm sorry about our child. I calmed myself. Marcus, you have no right to mention our child. Go. Don't let me see you again. His lips trembled, unable to utter a single word. I turned and walked into the room, closing the door firmly. From outside the door, his cries echoed, heart-wrenching to hear. I covered my ears, not wanting to hear those sounds any longer. In the following days, Marcus appeared almost every day. He no longer begged for my forgiveness, merely watched me from a distance. Sometimes, he would leave small gifts by the door. I understood he was trying to express his apology this way. I heard that Skylar had been sent away and would never return. As for the child Skylar had given birth to, Marcus took him back. After all, he was his own flesh and blood. I saw every bit of his remorse, but it was all something he had brought upon himself. I started going out frequently, hoping to avoid him. But I found that no matter where I went, he would suddenly appear. He was like a shadow, clinging to my side. The city nights always carried a hint of damp chill. I looked at the object in my hand, its icy touch sent a chill through my heart. Ready? Ethan asked me softly. Yes, everything's set. I put the item into my bag, looking at him with determination. A clandestine deal was underway in the warehouse. A pungent smell, permeated the air. I didn't dare breathe deeply. My heart was pounding. Success or failure hinged on this moment. I focused my attention on the key figures, my fingers already poised in a crucial position. Suddenly, a sharp sound pierced the night sky. No good, it's an ambush. Damn it! I cursed inwardly. The entire place instantly plunged into chaos, shouts and gunfire intermingling. Ethan immediately pulled me behind him, protecting me. Run, he yelled loudly. I didn't hesitate, turning and rushing out. But we were quickly surrounded. There was nowhere to escape. Though fought with all his might, his 2 fists were no match for so many. Finally, he was subdued by those people and beaten severely. Watching his body gradually become covered with wounds, my heart ached with unbearable pain, yet I was helpless. Next, I was also captured, and they mercilessly lashed my back with whips. Each strike was a piercing agony. Half dreaming, half awake, I heard hurried footsteps. It was Marcus. He was wearing a military uniform, leading his men, who quickly rushed over as reinforcements. Grace. Seeing me injured, his face instantly contorted with anguish. The people he brought were highly professional, quickly clearing out the surrounding enemies. However, just as the situation began to stabilize, I noticed a dangerous sign. Someone was preparing to detonate a grenade. Watch out for the grenade. I practically screamed the warning. At that critical moment, Marcus forcefully pushed me away. Immediately followed by a deafening explosion, a ball of fire erupted into the air. When I could see my surroundings clearly again, I only saw Marcus lying on the ground. Struggling, I crawled over and held him tightly. Marcus! I cried out, calling his name. He slowly opened his eyes, but the light in them seemed to be fading. I'm sorry, he whispered, using his last ounce of strength. His hand fell limply, blood staining my clothes. I held him tightly, tears streaming uncontrollably down my face. His body slowly grew cold, and his breath gradually vanished. He was gone, leaving to save me, and to atone for the debt he felt in his heart. I held his body, sobbing uncontrollably. The night in Coastal City seemed even colder. On the day of Marcus' funeral, the sky was a somber canvas, like a sheet painted with ink. The wind howled, making the funeral banners flap wildly, like the wails of ghosts. I didn't attend the funeral, but stood far away, across the street, watching as people escorted him into the cemetery. The crowd surged like a tide, as if threatening to swallow the entire world. I stood outside the crowd, like a forgotten soul. Grace, Ethan's voice came from behind me. I didn't turn around. Please accept my condolences, he said, offering me a cup of hot tea. The tea was hot, yet it couldn't dispel the chill in my heart. He died when I was most disappointed in him, I murmured to myself. Ethan stood silently beside me, saying nothing more. I closed my eyes, Marcus' warm smile flashing in my mind. He used to be so dazzling, so reassuring. But now, everything had become a distant memory. I hated him, I said through clenched teeth. What do you hate him for? Ethan asked. His deception, his betrayal. My voice began to tremble. Does that also include having loved you? Ethan asked softly. I snapped my eyes open and looked at him. His eyes were filled with boundless sympathy. I turned my head away, saying nothing more. It's over now. We should leave too. Looking at the distant tombstone, a wave of emptiness washed over me. In this vast city, it seemed there was no longer a corner that belonged to me. Let's go, I said to Ethan. He didn't answer, silently following behind me. We bid farewell to Coastal City, leaving behind this place filled with painful memories. From then on, Marcus, we would never see each other again, would we? If you've ever experienced a similar betrayal, would you choose to leave or to forgive? Share your story in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss more emotional stories.